Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Neenah City Common Council for April 17th, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Tonight is our organizational meeting after the election statewide by statute. Municipalities that have their organizational meeting on a Tuesday night. We normally have our meeting on a Wednesday night, first and third Wednesday of every month. This one's always on Tuesday. Alderman Coons will be arriving shortly. He's at a school board meeting, and Alderman Hillstrom tonight. Comment about that later. But they're both excused at this point. So, first item is the roll call. Members will sign in on the roll call machine and answer the clerk when your name is called, please.
Alderman Boyette. Here. Bates. Here. Hillstrom. Lundrum.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Steele.
Here.
Coons. Stevenson.
Here.
There are 7 members present. There's a quorum present. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Alderman Steele.
Jeez. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible.
All right. Tonight is our organizational meeting. We have some appointments to make in that. The first item of business is to swear in the newly elected mayor, and also the newly elected alderman for District 1, N.A. Steele, Alderman District 2, Marge Bates, and Alderman District 3, Todd Stevenson. So we have all 4 come up right now? Okay.
We'll have Alderman stand off to the side and we'll do the mayor first. We're going to have the Alderman stand off to the side. We'll start with the mayor. If you want to stand with the microphone so you can be heard. Do you want to do it sideways?
I think she wanted a picture, so go ahead.
Okay, if you raise your right hand. I, Dean Coffert, having been elected mayor
for
the city of Neenah, Winnebago County, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of
the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and faithfully discharge the duties of the mayor to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys can stand up near the mic so you can be heard as well. Okay, and if you raise your right hand, I'm going to start the first part out individually and then we'll go to all together. So raise your hands and then I, and state your names one at a time, beginning with Danae.
I, Danae Steele.
I, Marge Bates.
I, Todd Stevenson,
having been elected alderperson
having been elected alderperson
of the city of Neenah,
of the city of Neenah,
Winnebago County,
Winnebago County,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
affirm,
to support the Constitution
to support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Wisconsin,
of the state of Wisconsin,
and faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of an alderperson
of an alderperson
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. Welcome back to Alderman Stevenson and Alderman Bates. How many years is it for you now, Alderman Bates?
Just finished 12.
12. And Alderman Stevenson?
I don't know, 20 something, 27, 28.
27. 28. Started when he was 14.
Well,
And welcome to Alderman Steele, and along with the rest of you. So tonight is our organizational meeting. After that, we will have the state of the city. Evidently, my wife is not going to listen to.
she heard you practice it for a week.
She did not get the message, evidently. And but we'll have the organizational meeting, which will just take a few minutes, and then the state of the city report, and then we will get into our business for tonight. So, with that being said, the first item would be a motion. Is there a motion? Okay, until we start the regular meeting, we're going to use. We're not going to use the system, so you'll be voting by roll call or by unanimous consent.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that the rules of order of the previous council be adopted as rules to govern this council until modified by proper action of this council.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to state that the rules of order of the previous council will be adopted and govern this next council until we're modified by proper action of council. Is there any discussion? All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's so ordered. Next item of business is the election of officers. The first item on up for a nomination is President of the City Council. Is there any nominations from the floor for President of the City Council?
I would like to nominate Todd Stevenson for President of the Council and to close the nominations. Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lendrum, to nominate Alderman Todd Stevenson as President of the Common Council. There's also, within that motion, is to close the nominations for President of the Common Council. So we have one person for President of the Common Council. Any discussion? But a motion also to close the nominations. So I would ask all in favor of casting their ballot for President of the Common Council for Todd Stevenson, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's unanimous. Congratulations, Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you.
The next item of business is some mayor's appointments, and these will be to the standing committees. These are one-year terms, and they'll expire April of 2019. Alderman Stevenson and I, as the current president, the mayor always meets with the council president to kind of get these set up a little bit ahead of time, not knowing who the council president is going to be. But so we have discussed this, and the aldermen have also put in their requests for which committee they would prefer. So we tried to oblige most of the requests if we could. For the Finance and Personnel Committee, 4 aldermen and the council president, previously held by Alderman Erickson, Boyette, Coons, Paulno, and Council President Stevenson. I would like to appoint Alderman Erickson, Boyette, Alderman Steele, and Coons, and then Council President Stevenson. With regards to public services and safety, 4 aldermen and the council president. These were previously held by Alderman Bates, Hillstrom, Landrum, Lang, and Council President Stevenson. I would like to appoint Alderman Bates, Hillstrom, Landrum, Lang, and Council President Stevenson. On the Committee on Rules, Alderman Paulno, Coons, and Hillstrom previously. There will now be Alderman Steele, Coons, and Hillstrom. On the Legislative Review Committee, Mayor Coffert will be on the committee, the council president, the chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee, which we will determine after I make my appointments. The Neenah Menasha, that's a legislative review. The Neenah Menasha Joint Fire Finance and Personnel Committee, which will be the council president, a member of the Finance and Personnel Committee, which will be Alderman Coons and Alderman Boyette. So those committees will be appointed right now. At this point, I'm looking for a motion to confirm the mayor's appointments to those standing committees. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Stevenson moves to accept the mayor's appointments to the previously announced standing committees for a 1-year term expiring in April 2019. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's so ordered. We'll now have a 3 to 5 minute recess just to permit the organizational meeting of the standing committees, and during that short break, they will elect their chair and their vice chair and set their meeting date and time.
I move to a recess to enable the organization of standing committees.
Motion and a second for a short recess so that the organizational committees can organize. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's so ordered. 3 to 5 minutes.
Finance here.
Okay, we're back. We are back in session. Thank you very much for the short break. Oh, that's Cleve. Okay, thank you. We go to organizational reports of the standing committees. I will call on the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report that Alderman Erickson, that's me, is the new chair of the Finance Committee, and Alderman Boyette is the vice chair of the Finance Committee. And we will be meeting at 6:30 instead of at 7 o'clock from now on, on Mondays. Mm-hmm.
Prior to council.
All right, thank you very much for your report. Public Services and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. The members of the new Public Service and Safety Committee met, and by unanimous vote, we have elected Alderman Bates as chairman, Alderman Hillstrom as vice chair, and we are going to be holding our Public Service and Safety meetings again on Tuesday of the week preceding the regularly scheduled council meeting, and this will also be at 6:30. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to both chairmen. Appreciate it. The Committee on Rules could not meet. We're going to wait for two of the members weren't here tonight, so they will meet next time. The Legislative Review Committee met for that report. Chair, Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Legislative Review Committee was made up of myself, Alderperson Erickson, and Mayor Crawford. I was elected the chairperson of that committee, and Alderperson Erickson was voted as the vice chairman, and that committee meets on call. That ends my report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to some other mayor's appointments quickly. Carol Casimore as the City of Neenah representative to the Fox Cities Transit Commission for a 3-year term expiring in April 2021. Director of Finance Mike Easker to the Fox Cities Room Tax Commission. That term will expire in April of 2019. Jim Guns to the Fox Cities Room Tax Commission for a term to expire April 2019. I'm nominating myself to the Exhibition Center Advisory Committee of the Appleton Redevelopment Authority. That term will expire next April. Alderman Tammy Erickson will chair the Neenah Arts Council for a term that expires April 2019. Alderman Hillstrom and Alderman Bates to the Board of Public Works for a 1-year term to expire April 2019. Randall Fieldhack and Patricia Rickman to the Library Board for a 3-year term commencing May 1st and ending April 30th, 2021. Those are both reappointments. John Ailes, reappointed to the Community Development Authority for a 4-year term to expire April 2022. Nick Pirgosi to the Plan Commission for a 3-year term expiring April 2021. The Mayor, the Fire Chief Clone, City Attorney Godleski, City Clerk Stern, Director of Community Development and Assessment Hayes, Director of Finance Easker, Director of Public Works Kaiser, Director of the Water Utility Taylor, Police Chief Wilkinson, Director of IS Wenninger, Director of Parks and Rec Kading, Director of Library Services Rob, Director of Human Resources and Safety Barber, the Council Representative Alderman Lendrum, Winnebago County Health Representative Doug Guerin, School Superintendent Pfeiffer, and a Red Cross representative, all appointed to the Emergency Government Committee for a 1-year term that expires April 2019. Alderman Erickson as the representative on the Bergstrom Mahler Museum Board of Directors. That 1-year term expires April 2019. Alderman Erickson as the representative to the Library Board. That'll also be a 1-year term expiring next April. Alderman Lang as the council representative to the Bid Board. That is also a 1-year term expiring in April 2019. Is there a motion to confirm those appointments?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to confirm the previous listed appointments. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's so ordered. Thank you very much. John, Carol, Casimore, nope. Randy's not here, Patricia, and Nick. So none of them were able to make it tonight for the appointments, so they'll stop into the clerk's office and be sworn in. I always take this opportunity, and especially when there's people in the audience, if you're ever interested in serving on a board, a commission, getting involved, on the website, there's an opportunity. There's a whole list of committees and commissions, and you can, fill out an application, send it into the city hall, to my office, and whenever openings come up, you have the opportunity to serve and volunteer. It's a commitment, usually about one day or night per month. So we love to have city residents volunteer and be on those committees. So we'll now move on to the council appointments. Alderman Stevenson?
Thank you, Mayor. The council has the responsibility of making recommendations to a number of positions, and I will read our recommendations at this time. As council representative to the Joint Review Board, I'm going to recommend that we nominate Alderperson Steele to a 1-year term expiring April 2019. As our council representative to the Waterworks Commission, my recommendation would be to recommend Alderperson Boyette to a 1-year term expiring April 2019. As our council representative to the Plan Commission, I recommend we appoint Alderperson Lang to a 1-year term that expires April 2019. As our council representative to the Loan Assistance Board, my recommendation would be to recommend Alderperson Landrum to a one-year term expiring April 2019. As our council representative to the Park and Recreation Commission, I would recommend Alderperson Kuntz to a one-year term that would expire April 2019. And as our representative to the Landmarks Commission, I would recommend that Alderperson Lang be appointed to a one-year term that also expires April 2019. I would make one motion to approve all 6 of those recommendations.
Second.
All right, Alderman Stevenson has moved to confirm the council appointments. Is there a second? There's a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of those council appointments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's so ordered. I just realized that I grabbed the wrong state of the state, so unless you want to hear last year's state of the city, I will go get it out of my office in a minute. I grabbed the wrong one. So why don't we, Alderman Stevenson, can you move that down to after the public forum or the mayor council
Sure.
consideration?
I would make a motion to adjourn the agenda at this time to take up the state of the city report by Mayor Crawford after Roman numeral 6, the public forum.
Thank you. All in favor of moving that report down a few items on the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? That's so ordered. All right. We now have introduction confirmation of some Mayor Crawford's appointment of Morgan Cottrell to fill the unexpired term of Pamela Barnes as the future Neenah rep on the Sustainable Neenah Committee for an indefinite tenure. Is there a motion?
Patty said we should use the machine, so I'll make that motion.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Stevenson. Is there a second? There's a second by Alderman Boyette. We are now using the machine for roll calls. So is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the appointment of Morgan Cottrell will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 7-0. Item number 3 is approval of the council proceedings of April 4th, 2018 regular session, Committee of the Whole minutes of March 26, 2018, and the Joint Committee of the Whole Park and Recreation Commission minutes of April 9th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Lundrum to approve those minutes. Is there any discussion, corrections, additions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of that will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 7-0. There are no public hearings, nor are there any reports pertaining to them. Item number 6 is the public forum. Public forum is an opportunity for any member of the community or any resident to come before the council, speak on any topic that you would like. We ask that you come up to the microphone, you give your name and address so that we have it for the official record, and we ask that you try to limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Right after that, there will be a council consideration of any public forum issues if any council member or the mayor would like to respond, or if you have any questions, specific questions or anything you'd like answered. So at this point, I'm going to have Alderman Stevenson open the public forum, and anyone would like to speak, come up at this time.
I think the mayor just opened the public forum, so we're good. Yeah. A lot of pressure.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Dwight Kerr. I live at 434 High Street in Neenah. I'm here tonight as a result of attending a meeting at the YMCA last night regarding the progress that was made on the issues that were raised about the Trestle Trail approximately a year ago. At that meeting, among other things we found out was that the proposed trail has been relocated to West North Water Street versus River Street. While there, I believe there was only 3 of us residents present there, but there was much discussion. With that being said, there is a consequence to relocating the trail to West North Water Street from the originally presented River Street location. There are numerous potential interactions with pedestrians, traffic, both walking and running, and bicycle traffic that could result in injuries. I have sent each of you members this email. You should have got it today. It's about 6:18 today you got it. On River Street, there are 5 intersections. 2 of those intersections have 4 corners that may create a danger point, 2 from cross traffic, 1 from following traffic, and 1 from oncoming traffic. I've arbitrarily assigned a value of 1 point to each one of those, the total 4 for each one of those points. 3 intersections on River Street are T-type intersections that create 1 danger point from following traffic, 1 from oncoming traffic, and 1 from intersecting traffic. I've assigned a value of 3 to those. There are 8 driveways on River Street, each creating 1 danger point. The total danger points in my formula equals 22 danger points for having the trestle trail run on River Street. I applied those same criteria to the West North Water Street location. There are 2 T intersections that result in 3 points each based on the previous way I assigned them. There are 29 driveways along West North Water Street that come on to West North Water Street. The total danger points for that would be 29. Total danger points for the driveways and the intersections would equal 35. I did not include the intersection at West North Water Street and River Street because it is common to both routes. I also did not include the Abbey Street point because I have no idea where either Water Street or River Street will intersect the Menasha part of the trail, and to the best of my knowledge, Menasha has not approved the river portion of the trail. There are only 3 driveways on Abbey Street, so it would not make a significant difference. With 350,000 trail users annually, and the trail being vigorously marketed to the northeast Wisconsin area, I would expect those numbers to increase. I know the 350,000 users is probably grossly exaggerated, but it's been repeatedly used in public forums for the last 3 years. I could weigh the driveway issues heavier because it involves a vehicle backing into a thoroughfare that will have non-vehicular traffic on it. As most of you know, the sidewalks on West North Water Street are approximately 48 inches wide. The terraces are narrow enough that the city will not plant trees on them, and our street is extremely narrow, probably the narrowest in the city. I believe statistics would support my conclusion that it is more dangerous than a regular intersection, but even without doing that, there's a 30+% greater chance of an incident using the West North Water Street route over the River Street route. I guess what I'm trying to say there's a greater possible occurrence for somebody to be hurt with somebody backing out of a driveway or something like that on the West North Water Street. Based on this, I would think we want the River Street route strictly for, if no other reason, the safety of the potential people that will be using the route. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kurt. Who else would like to address the council? Come on up. Welcome. There you go. It's on my screen.
But it's not on that screen.
Turn it clockwise.
You can't.
You can't see that.
That screen. Chris, can you turn it on?
There's a button on there.
So it says the power's on, the lamp is on, and AF is on.
All right, give us a second.
Right, it wouldn't show up. But the bulb is burnt out, I can.
Evidently, we're having some problems with the projector that shows on here, but all the aldermen can see the picture. Sorry about that.
Barbara.
My pen about right there. So I'm Barb Jerkowick. I live at 500 West North Water Street, and that's the house that my family and I have lived in for 25 years. And my pen is kind of indicating where the sidewalk would be in front of our house. So last night, one of our city officials said, and I quote, "We don't want to change the character of that neighborhood. And running a public trail and hundreds of people a month in front of our houses would indeed change that character of that neighborhood." The trail will approximately be 17 feet from our bedroom window. So when you look at the picture that I gave you of our house, the second story there, the large dormer, that's a bedroom. And underneath that, where the porch is, obviously our front door, and that's our living room, which will be closer than 17 feet from somebody's sidewalk and all these people that would be traveling past and through there. Last night, too, the Weeawash Trail was used as a comparison as a successful public trail. That's along an old railroad line, and it doesn't go through any neighborhood, but the person was correct that, yes, it is a successful trail. However, it doesn't run through any residential neighborhood. Riverside Park, said the official, deals with multiple activities like this every year, and that's true as well. But imagine Riverside Park. There's a double-wide street and huge lots between the park and the houses, definitely more than 17 feet from the sidewalk to somebody's bedroom or to somebody else's living room window. This trail will also bring families right past a known heroin house. The police are well aware of this house, and when the weather gets nice, you will find used syringes in Cook Park, front yards, and along the boulevard, and the person that's responsible for this continues to live there. We also all know what's coming, and you can't say it won't happen because it already does. People will trespass. Remember the Pokemon Go in our city parks? And the hours that people were out there, even though the hours are posted, the damage that was done in the city parks, the trespassing into the neighborhoods, and the garbage that was left behind. So as they walk through our neighborhood, oh, there's the water. Let's go have a look. Take a look around. Nobody's in their yard. I think I'll just go sneak a peek. Look at those flowers. I might want some of those. And oh, Fido, he was off his leash. Sorry about that. We were just chasing him down through your yard. People will walk dogs. Dogs poop, and people don't pick up. Last night I asked about this scenario. Who's going to clean up the dog poop in my yard from all these people taking advantage of this new quality of life trail? There was a pause, and then the response was to call the police. My question remains unanswered. So who's going to clean up the poop? People litter. My husband and I, a few weeks ago, brought bags with us on our walk from behind the Affinity Clinic around through the Urban Dolly Park. I had 2 bags stuffed full of litter, and so did my husband when we were done at the end of our walk. And there's other litter still laying out there. The extra traffic. Something I'm looking forward to is the challenge of leaving my driveway and returning to my home through the roadblocks, the walkers, the runners, the baby buggies, and anybody else that's on the street. We're not finding reasons to not support this. People who live in my neighborhood have been told what the plans are and how it's going to be. And now people who are questioning this or who are verbal about this trail running past their front yards are not keeping an open mind. I've lived in that neighborhood for 25 years, and all those years nobody cared about that neighborhood and its aesthetics and how it looked. For the last 2 years now, and for several weeks each year, we have Habitat for Humanity all over our porches and door handles. Don't tell me that there's rules and ordinances that address these issues. Only law-abiding people adhere to the rules, and according to the statistics, that's approximately 72%. Rules are for the honest people. This is an old neighborhood, and it was not designed for the use of this type of activity. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other folks who would like to address the council?
Hi, my name is Lynn Wilson. I live at 438 West North Water Street. I don't talk in front of people. I'm very shy. But when I'm provoked, I will stand up and talk. I spoke to you, Mayor, this afternoon when I got this letter on my window that mentioned that the trail was coming past our house. We feel that this trail has been planned for years now, and it was always going up River Street. It had community support. They gathered all the money. They did all these things. And now in the 11th hour, we are blindsided by that it's going past our house. I agree with the other lady who spoke. That's 25 feet from my living room window, and maybe 15. My house is even closer to the road. We have children. We have grandchildren. Who's going to pay for our sidewalks that are going to get worn out really, really fast? Are we going to be able to park on our street anymore on both sides? Or we can no longer park there? And as she said, people are always rubbernecking into our yard because we live on a beautiful lake. And so we've already got rubberneckers there constantly stopping in front of our house, taking their time, peeing on my flowers. So I've already got people I'm fending off peeing on my flowers without having 350,000 of them. And like you said, that'll be spread over time, but what if they are walking around in the night? What if there are weirdos? We have children and grandchildren that are there all the time. I feel as though this didn't happen in a vacuum. As you said, this is happening because they recently got access to getting the land from the utility there so they can run along the lake even further, so now they'll just run straight. Well, that required some planning and effort, and we feel blindsided, like we should have been part of this loop and notified that that was being planned so that we could sell our house last year or something, because I don't want to live in a neighborhood that's, we're too shy. I don't want all those people running by me. And that's all I have to say about that. I feel like we were left out of the loop.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to address the council?
Yes, I'm Janice Nelson. I live at 518 West North Water Street. I've lived there for 49 years. I'm way at the end of the Water Street, so I get all the goodies down there. The people driving like maniacs down our road, they have taken out our mailbox 2 or 3 times. They've hit our telephone pole. They hit a lamp a month ago, and they've also hit a tree down there. And you're going to let people walk there. I also have a blind driveway. In order for me to get out this blind driveway, if people walking on the sidewalk, I'd have to walk approximately from 50 to 80 feet up into my yard, then walk back to see who's coming on the street, then walk back and get in my car. I don't think that I should have to do that. You guys, we have enough problems on the street as it is now. Now we're going to have people walking up and down the street. I don't think that's so good. And you also have the business, which you may not live next to the businesses on Abbey Street, but I do. You got people, there's a garage there. Tons of cars go whizzing by up to that garage. You think they're all times of the night they're going to that garage. And I know they're not going the speed limit. Not at all. So you want to come in and let people walk up and down our street. Yeah, we live on the beautiful water, but it isn't so beautiful that you think it's beautiful. You wait when it gets to be in July and August, when it smells. Then you're going to have people walking down there. It doesn't smell so good. And I'm sure they would love to do that. That's all I got to say. And by the way, nobody was notified. It was supposed to run River Street, and all of a sudden today, if it wouldn't have been for one of my neighbors living, I would have never known about it. We had a snowstorm. I couldn't possibly, Because I'm the one that's responsible for taking care of my driveway. So I have to take care of my driveway and my sidewalk by myself. And to get to a meeting, I couldn't possibly go there, or I would have went last night.
All right, thank you. Who's next? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Kathy. I live at 408 West North Water Street. We're the house right next to where the bridge is going up. I just don't understand why we can't get a fence, some kind of security fence. Like they said, we're 10 feet away is our bedroom window. I'm almost in tears, I'm sorry. It's just so much to take. Either way, whichever way it goes, we're still right here. And you mentioned that you don't put fences around parks, but there's a fence around Cook Park across the street. I'm just wondering if there's any way we can get some kind of security, cameras, anything, because it's just so close to our house. And it's very upsetting. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say.
I'm not good at speaking, but I just wonder what you're going to do about the fact that people can walk through the yards and go where the river is. When we have high water, that's just roars back there. And if you got kids or anything that go anywhere near that water, they're gone in a second. And they could wander right in my yard and it would happen. And it would be still you guys' fault for not securing that riverfront. The other thing I wanted to mention too is Arrowhead Park was named by my grandma. I had purchased their house many years ago. But from what I've understood over the years is that was just supposed to be a dog park back there. And that that land is not exactly what you call good soil. There was a lot of things dumped back in there in the days when they used to have the paper mills and stuff right there. They always said it wasn't a very sanitary place for people to be. And if I understand that the story went is it was all the pulp and PCBs and stuff that was left from the mills were buried back there. And as you build on top of that, that's going to act like a big sponge, and it's going to just come. It'll eventually want to come right back to the surface, no matter how you try to contain it. I don't know if it's going to be a good area to be having people around, kids around, children around. You guys know anything about this?
We try to do is, well, after the public forum is closed, then we'll, if anyone would like to respond to it, but then so that we don't interrupt it. Okay?
Okay. All right, I guess that's all I have to say.
Can we just get your first name? So,
This is Todd.
thank you. And Todd, can you give us your last name too, please? Sorry, the clerk didn't get it.
A piece of paper. My name is Todd Whitman.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, who else would like to address the council?
My name is Bruce Levenhagen, 314 Parkwood Drive. My wife and I love each other. There's a saying, happy wife, happy husband. And when she's not happy, it's hot tongue and cold shoulder for dinner. Will Rogers said, good fences make good neighbors. And I've got a great neighbor. But they decided to cover their cyclone fence with tarps to keep their dogs from barking at everybody. It looks terrible. It looks like we're under construction in the backyard. Tonight my wife told me we were going to a procrastinators meeting at the Y. And halfway here she said it was canceled till Tuesday. So I said, let's go to City Hall. And here we are. I just told the mayor of De Pere the other day when I was up there, I said, Neenah's a great place to live. And our motto is just don't tell anyone else. I enjoy being here. I enjoy paying for the fine services we got. Mr. Freezy and his gang did a great job on these streets with a terrible storm we had. But the thing I'm running into here is it looks terrible. It doesn't stop the dogs from barking. And I think if my garbage pickup is on Tuesday, I can't put it out on Thursday. It's supposed to be 24 hours ahead because it could get tipped over by the critters in the neighborhood, blowing down the street. So we've got rules to follow. And when I bought that property, they said no outside buildings, and they don't want any fences that keep you from seeing through to the woods. And now I've got this black and brown and green plastic flapping back and forth. And it doesn't stop the dogs. It seems to irritate them. The Bible says to go to the one you got the problem with. So before we came here, I went to my neighbor who I get along with. And I said, that just doesn't look right. And I talked to the city about dropping our taxes. And that said, that doesn't look right either. But the beautiful neighborhood we have, they said, we're going to take the buckthorn out of here. I said, that's what we paid for, to live in the woods. And we took it all out because it was evasive. And we do what we can and keep our yards looking nice. But all of a sudden now it looks like we're in a construction zone. So after talking to the neighbor, he said, well, the wife wanted it. I said, I don't want to start any trouble, but I'll buy it from you and I'll use it somewhere else. And I haven't heard anything. So we came to the council and mentioned this, and nothing has really been done that we know of until last night we got a call to be here. So I just think that, you know, when you have a fence, it should be looking nice. And the dock behind me built a nice black fence. Neighbor tied into it, and I tied into it. And you don't even see the fence at all. And I like dogs. I've got 2 of them. And I know they bark once in a while, but you don't let them bark for 2 to 3 hours. So, is that enough, dear? I can come home tonight. Thank you. You guys work so good, I don't know why Green Bay's got trouble.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Anyone else like to address council in the open forum portion? Else? Right? Seeing no one else, I will close the public forum. And would anyone like to address anything in the consideration of public forum issues? Mr. Levenhagen, I know your issue is on the agenda. Revisions to the fence ordinance on the agenda for later in the evening. So that's that. We did have a meeting last night at the Y for residents. Only 3 or 4 showed up, and I think partly because of the snow and that. I mentioned that last night. Probably wasn't as it turns out, who would have expected that. I checked with Director Kading today, and he said every single resident from Commercial Street to the lake was sent cards informing them of the potential change to this. And I've had people tell me that they received theirs. So I don't know. I'm just telling you that. Okay. So I did check on that because someone asked me to check on that. So there are, this is a recommendation. The council will act on this. All I can say is the council will make this decision. I think it was, like I said last night, it was somewhat predicated upon the city of Menasha changed their route from, is it River Street in Menasha, or is it Lawson? Yeah, our River Street one's in the Lawson. And that was changed in Menasha to the end of West North Water Street, where the We Energies property was located. They were able to strike a deal with We Energies to go across that property and go on the water between the sewage plant and the water. So Menasha will be utilizing their portion of the path there. And I think that's what predicated us, one of the reasons that predicated us, amongst many, to look at that West-North Water Street route as an alternative. So I'm sure there'll be more discussions on that. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment on anything that they learned? 1 second, please. Marge, and then we'll get to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Concerning the Whitmans, and they were saying that they're where the landing of the bridge is and that there's nothing between them. I thought in the plans when we purchased that area that there was going to be at least a set of evergreens running up and down that. And is that just not, obviously wouldn't be put in quite yet, but it's still in the plans, correct?
I believe that's correct. I'm not sure of the specifics of that landscaping plan, but there is a plan.
Because I remember making sure that we recommended large enough trees that it wasn't going to be just little saplings to start with, so that it would.
You are correct. There's some fairly large evergreens that would be planted, but not a fence. So first I'm going to, sir, do you used to have a question? Well, sure. Can you just give us your name quick?
Jack Nelson.
Thank you. Thanks.
There's people here that pretty much run the gamut of West North Water. We didn't get anything. Nothing. I'd like to know who you talked to.
Park and Recreation Department, it was from for every house from Commercial Street to the lake.
West North, where, it benefits.
We each got a letter that said there was a meeting to go out to review the items that were covered in the original meeting over a year ago. Nothing at any time ever mentioned to anybody about changing the route.
All right.
If you'd like it, I'll bring that letter in.
Sure, you can bring it in. Did you have a comment? I'm sorry. Okay. No, that lot, I've been over to look at it. We took a house down there. That lot is probably 60 feet. Right, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I would say.
So that lot is the lot that we bought to the lot line is probably 60 feet from the trail. Your house is probably some feet from that lot line. So you're probably at least 70 feet from the lot, from the trail. I'm just guesstimating. So I'm not trying to be, I'm just, right. I get it. I'm just saying from the trail. So we understand. And, that's what we're here for, is to hear you out. So, okay. Okay. Sure. But will that be the same on River Street?
We're on West North Water Street. That's a couple houses.
Well, I'm just asking. You're 17 feet from the trail to the... Yes. Well, I'm just asking, will that be the same on River Street?
Just as an example, I counted them today. There are 8 driveways on River Street, so there are 8 residences. There are 29 residences.
Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Can you explain the same on West North Water?
My point is that no matter where the trail goes, it's probably going to be 17 feet from someone's front porch.
Not on River Street. There's not one even close.
Well, I take that back. There might be in the corner.
There's all kinds of them across from Lebanon and Hoyle.
17 feet from the sidewalk.
325 River Street would.
From the south side, the west side of River Street. But, that's fine. My point is, no matter where it goes, there may be that issue, but you have that issue, and I appreciate it.
Greg has that issue, and you guys have that issue. You have that issue.
Okay.
There's 5 people in this room.
I used to live on West North Water Street, so I'm familiar with West North Water Street. Okay, we're not going to... Alderman Boyette.
Thank you. I'm concerned that you potentially weren't notified. So I guess that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to talk with Director Kading and find out if you were supposed to get notes and you didn't, or if we're misinformed, or what happened. That's my main concern, is that somehow you weren't notified of a change of plans or potential change of plans. Is there anything else that you can share with us that you don't feel that you were notified of, or other changes?
So,
I go home tonight, I'll scan the letter and email it.
all right, we're not going to have a running conversation, because that's what we don't. If you want to ask something in that's fine, but we're kind of lenient on that. I will say this. Last night was a neighborhood meeting that was put on to inform people. Everyone received a letter in that area. Is that correct? No. Well, I'm getting heads nodded back there. We got a letter, but it just so I'm just saying, the action to officially designate the route has not been scheduled yet. So you'll be notified again. That was kind of a precursor meeting to give you notification at the Y last night. That was a neighborhood meeting. It was a suggestion from some aldermen that we have a meeting in your area so that you didn't have to come down to City Hall. So we had the meeting. Everyone was notified. If you didn't get it, I believe you. And so you were notified of that. When the action comes before the council, then there will be a notification once again. That has not been scheduled at this point to do the official mapping. So I just want to, you can argue with me and with us in that, but that's the process, I believe, okay? So hang on a second. Anyone else have any comments or clarifications? Okay, all we do, we're going to ask you to come up to the mic, because this is all taped and we can't hear you and people back home can't hear you. So appreciate you just come up to the mic, but we're not going to have a running dialogue, okay?
Okay, you were talking about people's houses being close to the street. I have two neighbors.
Use the
I have
mic,
two
please.
neighbors, one on either side of me and one the next down. And I'd say they're lucky if they're 8 feet from the sidewalk.
Okay.
Probably closer.
Yeah, I drove it. I saw it.
So.
Yep.
So, and as far as I know, we just got the notice today that we were supposed to come tonight, and I know my one neighbor can't come because she's
Well, that
very
notice
old.
wasn't from us. I'm sorry for
No, I
interrupting
know,
you.
but somebody had told us
Okay.
about the meeting tonight.
Okay.
So, and I tried to, another people weren't home, and so
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these people in these neighborhood know that at all.
Sure.
But they are too close to the sidewalk.
All right.
You're going to have people destroying their yards.
Thank you. The notice that you got today was from some neighbor or something. It was not from the city. So just to be clear, okay? Hi, come on.
I just have one more question. The bottom line is, we're powerless and there's nothing we can do about it anyway, right? That's just what I
The
want
bottom line is that decision has not been made.
But it's not made by us and we have nothing to do with it.
It's a proposal that the council will take action on at some time.
Right.
There will probably be another opportunity. There will probably be another, I don't know if we have to have a public hearing on that or not. I'm not sure.
But the decision is made up by the council. We all don't get to vote in our neighborhood whether we want it or not.
No, that's what you have. That's what you have aldermen for.
Oh,
so
good
sorry
one.
about
Thank
that.
you.
But I'm just telling you. Last night was kind of a courtesy notice, the courtesy meeting in your neighborhood to let you know. Okay. There will be more. Question or what?
Yes. So the decision to choose which trail to use will be made by the council at a public forum, or will it be made in a committee beforehand and recommended to the council as a whole, at which time they'll vote on it?
My guess, I guess it would come through the Public Services and Safety Committee with a recommendation.
I guess I would like to request that
Absolutely.
as many of the neighbors as possible be notified of when that hearing is done. I'm
Well,
quite sure many of us would like to attend that.
Okay. I'm going to, sorry for interrupting you, Dwight, but I'm going to have the clerk explain how you can get on the mailing list, the emailing list, so that you'll be emailed anytime this subject comes up. Is that correct? Could you explain to them how they do that?
If you go on to the city's webpage on the agendas and minutes calendar, at the bottom of the page, it asks you if you want to sign up to be an interested party. And you can sign up for all committees or just a specific committee. And I'm assuming in this case, you'd want to sign up for public services and safety. But you can pick your committees that you want to sign up, and you will get an email when their agenda goes out. You can look at it. If that's not the agenda this item is on, you can, just disregard it until it does come out on a future agenda. But just put in your email address, your name, your email address, an interested party, and pick the committee, and you'll get notifications when agendas and minutes for those meetings go out.
If I could just add, you will get every agenda for that committee, whether the topic of the trail location is on that agenda or not. So
if you don't, at some point, if you don't want it, just give us a call and we can take you off of that.
And then the Whitmans, you want to probably add yourself to the Park and Recreation Commission, okay? Because you're next to the park, okay? So, and that impacts you, so, okay? So I just wanted to, that's out there, not too many people know about it, and that we try to tell people that if they are interested, that's the best way to kind of keep abreast of what's going on. And I presume it's not required, but we will have another mailing. And I've asked the question many times on why we don't do certified mailings on certain things, but there's a big cost to that, like $5 a piece. So that adds up in a hurry. So we rely on the United States Postal Service to let people know, and we can target certain areas, and that's the best we can do to make sure people know. So, Barb, one last time, okay? No. Thank you. Come on up.
So anywho, that mailing thing, the letter that we received was not very specific at all. It did not allude in any way, shape, or form or verbiage that there was a proposal to change the route.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify that yes, we received a letter from the city of Neenah, but in no way, shape, or form was that at all mentioned in that letter. It simply was to read that it was to revisit some of the questions and concerns that came up from the fall meeting.
Okay.
But the route change was not indicated. Right. Thank you.
I will ask to get a copy of that letter tomorrow, okay? Oh, I think our people will be able to give it to me, so, but I'm sure you will, so. Probably by the time 10 o'clock, so that's okay. So we appreciate those that made it out last night to the meeting. Weather wasn't the best, but it was to discuss the issue. Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question to the neighbors who live there. Is there much train traffic on the tracks that run along River Street? Is
not
there
anymore. If you were
not even a day, not once a day or anything?
If you were at the meeting, those of you who were at the meeting, I don't know who was there, Dwight was there, but I asked about that question, Alderman Bates, because a few months ago, we were getting a lot of calls, lots of, over the past 6 months, that those trains were there sometimes for 20, 30 minutes. The police department was responding to calls that the train was there a long time. Gold Cross Ambulance had contacted me that they were trying to get through, and the trains were there. I made a call to one of my contacts in Madison with the railroad and asked him to check into it and see what they could do. And it's very difficult working with the railroad, I can tell you that. They don't listen to many people, but in this case, I think they changed a switching area or something further down the track. So we had some positive results there. So it's not like it used to be. So that was a positive improvement that we made. And in addition, last night, the discussion, Officer Velker was there and Officer Zules was there. Officer Velker did a very good job of explaining. We know that there's some problems in that area. Dwight has brought us, he brought some needles to my office one time. There is, potentially activity going on that's not welcome in any neighborhood, much less yours. Every time I get one of those concerns from a resident. It's helpful that residents, let us know about them, give us the address of the suspected house. What we have found what I found talking to the drug officer, and that is many times when kids or young people, they all carry backpacks now. So just because they're carrying a backpack doesn't mean that they're involved in illegal activities. But many times they're carrying their backpacks, and so people assume that there's things going on. Cars coming and going at all hours of the night, those types of things. And I hear there's a garage that might be a problem, right? So let my office know. I let Captain Olson or Captain Gonzalez or Chief Wilkinson know about potential problem areas, and they take action. We are part of the Metropolitan Drug Task Force. We recently had a different area of the city where through neighborhoods, the neighbors who contacted me and said, Mayor, there's a problem at a house. I spoke to the drug officer along with the captains, told them there's a problem at a house, and we are very close to initiating abatement of that house, where we will actually make that person move out of the house. The landlord is being cooperative and is going to evict that person. So my point for telling you this is, as Officer Velker pointed out last night, if you have problems, if you have issues, if people are cutting through your backyard to get to the water, those types of things, those are the things that you can call the Neenah PD non-emergency number. You can call 911 if you'd like, but we ask that you probably call the non-emergency number for that. Ask for an officer to come and check it out. Or call my office and say, Dean, there's a problem, because we will get the department to look into it. I think that's they've been very good at responding to those types of concerns. So I do want to point that out. All your other concerns tonight with backing out of driveways and all that, those are valid concerns that this council will take into consideration at a later date. And this council is very good at listening to the constituents. But like I stated last night, there is, I talked about the neighborhood, I talked about the character of the neighborhood, I talked about not our intention to change the character, but there is also a community interest. And that we take that community interest, what's good for the community also, when we do parks and roads and all kinds of things. So it's never an easy thing, but the Trestle Trail and the Loop the Lake project, overall, I think some of you will agree, is going to be a good project. And there are going to be some hurdles to overcome and some heartburn, I believe, on some things. The number of events that we schedule during the summer, 3 communities are involved in this. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to want juvenile diabetes, American Heart Association, all those types of groups and organizations are going to want to utilize that trail system for events. And we're going to have to make a decision on what is respectful to the neighborhood and how often we allow organized events along with our neighboring communities, Menasha and the town, Village of Fox Crossing. So those are all decisions that I think still need to be answered. Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Carrie Lundrum. I'm District 1 Alderman. I'm one of your 3 aldermen and the only one on the council that voted against Loop the Lake. This was one of my worries, and I knew it was going to come true, and that and the expense of it too. But you were there first, and I felt strongly that we were imposing our will on a very quiet, private neighborhood, and you chose to move back there in that quiet, private neighborhood. So I also would like to bring up that if you have problems, you elected me. And if you want to call the mayor's office, you can. But you elected an alderman to be the liaison between the city and yourselves. So Dwight has my card, Barbara has my card, several of you already know me. I'm on the city website. I can stop by your house. You can call me. I have a Facebook page. So feel free to call me first. And especially some of you may be uncomfortable calling the police. I have heard that a lot from constituents. And if you're uncomfortable, I'll call them for you. Okay, and then you don't have to put your name out there. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to address any of the issues brought up? All right, so stay tuned. Check out the website. Get your name signed up so that if you would like to come to some of these meetings, that'd be great. Okay? All right, with that, we're going to have we move into the State of the City speech. The State of the City speech I do once a year. I feel like I talked enough tonight, but I'm going to run through this. I would tell the council I tried to make it a little shorter tonight, but that didn't work. So I apologize ahead of time, but I think it's important to tell not just the council, but the citizens and the citizens at home what's going on in the city and some of the good things that are going on and some of the challenges that we face. So with that, I would like to take a couple minutes and present to you the State of the City speech 2018. Honorable Council President Stevenson, distinguished members of the Common Council, the department heads, guests that are in the chambers, and you, the citizens of this great city that we live in, Neenah. Thank you for allowing me to give my fourth State of the City message. The state of our great city continues to be positive, with citizens sharing confidence and optimism for the future of our community and for the future generations. I have met many folks throughout our city that have praised the direction and the path that the city government leaders have taken with the issues of the day and the big picture initiatives that we deal with. Recent decisions by major companies and employers in our community have been both positive and concerning. ThedaCare's decision to keep the hospital in Neenah and upgrade the current facility into a premier healthcare facility that provides access to quality healthcare while maintaining a level 2 trauma center was welcome news to everyone throughout our community. While Kimberly Clark's recent announcement of the potential closing of 2 facilities within our community and region left us with concern and some angst, the state, the company, and the labor teams are still at the table talking and trying to find ways to keep operations here and saving jobs. I'm proud to be part of those discussions and proud that the state and the company are looking seriously at finding ways. I will continue to be involved and advocate for finding ways to have the state help this industry survive. Here in the city, we continue to see the hours of hard work and dedication by this Common Council, department head, and employees pay off, and that has helped us put us in a great position to prepare for the future. This Common Council continues to be forthright in their responsibility to the community and works very hard to be good stewards of your tax dollars. My re-election recently and tonight's swearing-in ceremony is indeed an honor and a privilege. The opportunity to lead this community forward with goals of continued economic development, fiscal responsibility, and ensuring the wonderful quality of life we have here is a humbling experience. I have had the good fortune to have begun my journey for public service way back in 1985 in this very room at the age of 28 as an alderman of the Hoover School area. My 24 years of learning government spending, economic development, constituent services in Madison as a state representative and 4 years as your mayor have given me some tools to be part of a team that helps move Neenah forward. People like Senator Mike Ellis, Director of Finance in Madison Bob Lang, Council President Todd Stevenson, and former Council President Marge Bates, and the many colleagues in both the State House and the City Hall have all contributed to our successes and my ability to work with groups and staff to try and find a way to get to the answer yes when hard decisions need to be made. It's hard to believe that 33 years have been in public service, over half of my life. My wife Renee, children Casey and Carrie, and my grandchildren have always been there for me, and I appreciate the love and the support. My family, as does yours, of everyone around this table, gives up a lot for us to do what we do here, and we thank them for that. At a restaurant a few weeks ago, someone asked me, why do I do it? I can give many reasons, but I got 4 of them, and I was hoping they'd be here tonight. But those are my grandchildren. The next generation My grandchildren and yours will be the ones that reap the benefits of what we do here today and also pay for the bills that we create for the future. People have commented that good things are happening in Neenah. Creating a quality of life second to none is what citizens are asking for. Good jobs, good roads, core services, recreational activities, the arts, and taxes that keep the homeowner's ability to pay in mind are just a few. I encourage you and staff to continue to present ideas and concepts that will make positive impacts on all of our lives. I've spoken many times about doing the little things on how they can make a difference. All of our employees strive to deliver the best customer service they can. We also have our quality staff that understands we work for you, the taxpayers, and that customer service should be job one. I have shared many personal notes from citizens regarding going the extra mile for someone in our community. Overall, we meet the challenges daily, top-down throughout city government. The recent budget continued to hold the line on tax increases while making sure that the core services that people need are of high quality and affordable. Our yearly $24.6 million operating budget, of which $58 million is all funds, and an average $8.2 million capital improvement program continue to show our commitment to excellence while espousing our frugality with how we spend taxpayer dollars. Our debt continues to be well below the allowable state limits, and our latest Standards & Poor's bond rating is AA stable. For a city of our size, this is excellent news and a reflection of our current practices by the Common Council and the Finance Department led by Director Easker. If you page through that bond agency summary, you will read terms in bold that state Neenah, adequate economy, strong management, strong budgetary performance, very strong budget flexibility, with a fund balance of over $4.1 million, which is 18% of your operating revenue expenditures, and very strong liquidity. They also state our debt and our contingent liability profile is weak, and that 87% of our current debt is scheduled to be repaid within 10 years. These numbers didn't change a lot from last year. With our success comes our challenges. The 2018-2022 CIP that we hopefully will begin working on next week will begin to show the need for potential additional resources to keep up with an aging infrastructure. The outlying years' projections for projects show an increased level of borrowing, which will be challenging to meet. While we all understand that this document is just a 5-year plan, and requests sometimes fall into the wants not needs category, but it shows that meeting the future needs will be a challenge. I fully expect changes will be made in the future, working with the council to continue to prioritize projects and spend within our means. Our aging infrastructure, including roads, sanitary water, those needs continue to grow. I implore the governor and the legislature, come up with a transportation package that gets more dollars into the local municipalities' budgets for local projects. We continue to delay and defer road improvements that only lead to higher costs down the road. In a few weeks, I intend to finally bring forward an alternative plan for the council to debate on how residents should pay for road reconstruction throughout the city. I know there's also a plan on the council directives, but I believe it's time we move forward on that possibility. The 4-year Washington Park upgrade is underway. Dollars are allocated for the start of improvements to Arrowhead Park, and the Loop the Lake Trail with the river crossing will be a regional attraction that will bring people to our community and to our downtown. Mark your calendars for the Cut and Run event and kick off the official opening of the Loop the Lake. Tourism Secretary Stephanie Klett will be there, and we are still waiting to hear from Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish. We have a Public Works and Street Department that prides itself on doing a job that people can be proud of. This weekend was a prime example of the dedication by these individuals in making sure the streets were plowed and that people could travel safely. Police, fire, library, community development, finance, clerk's office, our legal department, and the mayor's office are all stepping up our game to improve the level of customer service and the commitment to the taxpayer. Our social media platform, headed up by my administrative staff person, Joni Hines, has taken us to new levels on Facebook, Twitter, and our website. The public has many opportunities to stay informed. So rest assured that throughout city government, our employees are excelling in providing the customer, you, our taxpayer, with quality services that help provide a great quality of life here. Our TIF districts are financially strong and are poised to become wonderful financial and economic success stories, adding to our tax base in the future and creating jobs now. The new 184-unit Pendleton apartment complex in TIF 11, with an estimated value, when completed, of $14 million, is open, and some new residents have already moved in. While cautioning us that future needs will be forced to look at available funding sources, we will soon be looking at other projects throughout the city in outlying years as well. For 2018 and 2019, you will see some more initiatives around the community with potential development projects, including talks with developers about higher-end downtown area housing needs in the downtown area. We are laying the groundwork to extend our borders to the west, and discussions are underway about possibilities on South Commercial Street corridor, our industrial park, Part 2 land, and our other development opportunities around the city. I will continue with my initiatives like my open door policy, WHBY's radio show the third Monday of every month, office hours all the time, we're open, high visibility throughout the community, and 24/7 access. I also appreciate that when I cannot make events, aldermen are willing to fill in for me so that the city's represented at these events, and I appreciate the fact that people step in to be there when needed. Once again this summer, I plan on continuing to working with the staff. That helps me better understand the needs of our departments and improve services. It's been educational, it's been fun, and it gets me out of the office once in a while to grasp the day-to-day operations within city government. So I, along with this council, as the elected representatives, will strive each and every day to improve the way government provides services to our residents. If you at home have suggestions to help us do our jobs better, please go to our website where you can find the contact information for your alderman or myself. We do love to hear from you, and we promise to listen to your concerns. We may not always agree, but we will listen. We cannot do this alone, and we need your input and your insight. We, as your representatives, will continue to do what we can to make Neenah a great place to live, to work, and help move Neenah forward. Thanks for listening. I'm very proud that the direction that this council, the staff, and this community is headed, and I hope you agree. Neenah, there's no place I'd rather be. Thank you very much for listening. All right. So then we go to, and I've spoken enough tonight, so you're not going to hear from me, okay? Consent agenda. Item number 8 is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for the adoption of the consent agenda as presented.
I might let.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Coons. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Alderman Bates?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to pull out item C to be reported on during the public services section.
Item C?
Please. The temporary class
Bates asks that item C be removed from the consent agenda. All in favor of the consent agenda minus item C, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Or do we need a roll call? I'm sorry. Roll call. This is something we got to change in the rules, but all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0 with one absent. Item 9 is reports of regular standing committees, the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 10th. Chairman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be reporting out on that C at the end of this, the list I have here. Committee recommends council adopt ordinance number 2018-05, amending section 21-38 of the Code of Ordinances relating to fences and similar structures, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Nope. Who seconded it?
Go ahead.
Seconded by Alderman Lane. Is there discussion? This is on the fence ordinance. Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. I just was going to give a synopsis. It has to deal with some of the types of fences that people are putting up, and many times it has to do with kind of putting makeshift fences up. So just delineating what are good fencing materials, what you would normally buy at a store or offered as fencing materials. The other one has to do with make sure that fences that we have are maintained so you don't have the situation where it's leaning at a 45-degree angle and could be dangerous to neighbors and anybody walking by. So I am in support of this.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one else. All in favor of adopting ordinance number 2018-05 will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0.
The committee recommends council authorize staff to initiate a petition to annex Lot 5 of Armstrong's original plat and a portion of the Armstrong Street right-of-way in the town of Neenah, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lendrum. Discussion. Being no discussion, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0.
The committee recommends council approve the necessary contracts with Go Green Recycling for demolition of 1311 South Commercial Street at a cost of $24,500, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the necessary contracts with Go Green Recycling for the demolition contract. Questions or comments? Alderman Boyette.
I have a few questions. What property exactly is this?
This is the Harns Barn property, I believe.
Okay.
Chris?
Okay, why, curious, because this initially failed in committee, and then we brought it back to council, and it passed to purchase it, and then it went to public service and safety for this. I'm wondering why it didn't go back through finance. And then also, I'd like to know why it is that we weren't aware of these additional potential costs when we were deciding to purchase this. Because to me, that's more taxpayer money now that we're spending on this project, when I personally feel it should have been left to the public sector.
Would you like to address your question to?
Director Hayes.
Okay, Director Hayes.
So to remember what they were, the why it came to public services and safety, first of all, the committee of jurisdiction for my office is public services and safety. I can't speak to why historically block grant items went to finance, but they have. The acquisition was a finance item. We felt, and I believe because it was a contract, went to finance. The demolition, I assume, was a contract, but because it's a demolition contract, typically a public works contract, it came to public services and safety.
That's very confusing.
But I will say it's in front of all 9 aldermen now. So
okay. So did we not know that we were going to have potential?
Absolutely. I don't think we ever hid the fact that we were going to remove the structure.
So if we purchase something, I mean, to me, I'm an untrained individual here. So to me, I'm going to purchase something, I'm going to have it inspected. I'm going to know up front if I'm going to buy something and it's going to need, additional dollars spent. I get, like, if there's like a water break or something, but like electrical, asbestos, things like that, before you make a purchase. How come we didn't know these things?
The estimate for demolition was $50,000, is what I included in my block grant estimate. I apologize if the council wasn't aware or if we didn't make it clear enough, but that was always the assumption. I don't know how the other members of the council feel, but that was always the assumption, that once we acquired, we were going to remove the structure.
It was in the memo that went to the committee.
Thank you.
That went to which committee? I'm sorry.
Well, it went to the council, but it was because the council gets all memos, but it would have went to Public Services and Safety. And it probably, I can't say for a fact, but I suspect it was in the original memo as well relative to the acquisition that we had planned to acquire and remove the structure.
Correct. I'm aware of that. I'm not aware of the asbestos from the beginning.
Well, the asbestos is minimal. I mean, there's no.
But it's an additional.
Quite frankly, there's no asbestos in this number. This is purely demolition. 24.5 is strictly demolition. The asbestos removal is in addition to that. I don't know what that number is yet until we get that estimate, but it's going to be probably less than $2,000.
Thank you.
But again, well below the $50,000 that we had originally used as a ballpark number for removal.
Okay, thank you.
First number that was given to me was 50,000. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Director Hayes. When do you anticipate that this will be done?
Before the end of the month.
Great, thank you.
Alderman Bates.
Yes, and I would just like to clarify that the Go Green Recycling is a demolition company in addition to its name looking like it's just for recycling.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. All in favor of approving the contract with Go Green Recycling for demolition of 1311 South Commercial will signify, will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 7-1.
Item 4, the committee recommends council adopt final resolution number 2018-14 for installation of curb, gutter, and pavement on Kingswood Drive, Nature Trail to Shooting Star, Remington Road, Nature Trail to Shooting Star, Paintbrush Road, Kingswood to Remington, and Shooting Star, Kingswood to Remington, with a deferred special assessment billing that would place the special assessment on the property tax bill in December of 2019. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lendrum, to adopt final resolution number 2018-14. Comments or questions? Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess my issue here is I get the rationale for the deferment, and I probably support it. The issue is the wording of this document. And City Attorney, maybe you could help me here. The way I'm interpreting it is anytime we change the schedule on any road, which we do almost every year, because we never exactly, I don't know what the schedule really is exactly. Every year it changes based on a number of variables. So I'm worried about the way it's worded in that every time we do a road, it's going to come up and say, well, you changed this, so now defer the cost for us. I'm not sure what's meant by change. It's not really specific to me. Because I would look for Director Kaiser to help me out if I'm misinterpreting the fact that what roads we're going to do changes. I mean, we're going to do a 5-year plan, and what's on that 5-year plan, I can guarantee you, isn't going to happen in the exact way you've laid it out. So I'm lost on what a schedule is and what we're referring to, and I don't think we've got the detail in here that helps guard us against future changes.
Well, I think the sentiment of the committee was that this was being advanced by 2 years, and it was being advanced by 2 years in the year that the construction was going to happen. So there was no ability for the residents there to plan on that expense of that, and that's the purpose for the deferral, as I understand the committee's understanding or sentiment on that. I think the language in here states that I thought, pretty clearly, but if it doesn't, we can certainly make a change to that to make it reflective. Of course, the projects do change, but this one was rather unusual because in my experience, I don't recall a time when a project that was scheduled 2 years down the road was moved up to the present year, and that was the difference between most of the other changes.
And I think we're in total agreement on that, and I agree with everything you just said. And I guess, and maybe it's just my interpretation. My interpretation would be that it states specifically to exactly what you said, that we moved it up in this year, particularly from, and at least I don't remember it. I was just trying to find it again. It being that explicit, and again, if I'm misinterpreting that, I'm fine. And like I said, I think overall it makes sense. I'm just wanting to safeguard. We've had Cedar Street on the list. I don't know how many different times. I don't know. These things change dramatically all the time, and so I just worried about that.
Alderman Boyette.
Thank you. When this came before us before, I was all for it for the simple fact of the deferred special assessment billing. And I'm glad to see that was put back in here. So I will be voting for this.
Anyone else? Anyone else? So just, in case people from that area are watching that, this is the action that the council is going to take tonight is with regards to what they had asked us to consider, and that's a deferred special assessment billing in 2019 that most residents asked. Correct? Okay. All in favor of that motion, vote aye. All opposed will vote no, using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. And moving to the item I pulled off the consent agenda, the committee recommends approval of a temporary Class B picnic, beer, and wine license to the Pulse Young Professionals Network Bazaar After Dark Night Market, conditioned on the beer garden being located on property abutting South Commercial Street, and that staff inform the council of the selected location of the beer garden.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Motion by Alderman Bates, second by Alderman Lundrum. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Alderman Lundrum moves.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Alderman Boyette. Sorry about that.
Oops.
Discussion. Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with a question to the city attorney. We heard the history of this event, positive results that it had in other communities, and I appreciate their thought of coming here. I just wanted to make sure that we've done this with the future Neenah event downtown. We've done it this way, where it's not confined to a fenced-in area. So this is somewhat new to the city, and I know that we should look at some of the changes that and look at the ordinances that we're dealing with right now. But is this any way limiting us in the future to be able to look at another event coming in wanting this same thing, but we have no history of, or perhaps they have a bad history booted out of another city? We still have the ability to at our discretion approve or disapprove?
I think as long as we're dealing with some objective circumstances, there's objective factors that the committee finds that there's a problem with the sponsor of a future event. That would indicate that without confining to a location could cause problems. My understanding from the committee is that the committee wanted to use this as a means to see how it works experimentally, and then at the point where we got some understanding of how it would operate to actually redraft the street use permit ordinances to provide for this situation. With some objective factors that the committee would consider if they were going to deny it. That I think would be a good route to go once we get a feel for how it should operate.
Thank you, because I had some concerns that this is on a more residential area than we're used to downtown, and talking with the city staff with saying that putting barrels at the exit streets, so to speak, and putting signs up saying no alcohol beyond this point, someplace to dump off your cups and not, dump them under somebody's bush and pour the beer in the yard, is what I saw as a positive outcome of this. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm always cautious too about introducing alcohol into events, but I've been to several of these bizarre after darks in several different communities, and the focus is absolutely not on alcohol at all. It's a very small portion. They're very fun events. They're very family friendly. I felt very, very safe, and it goes to fairly late, 10 o'clock. And there were thousands of people at them, and I've always felt very comfortable, and I would have brought my kids too. So I think this is a really positive group. It's the Pulse Young Professionals. Thank you.
Alderperson Erickson.
Thank you, President Stevenson. I am very supportive of this. I am excited that they have chosen the South Commercial Street area to hold the event. It's an area that I think will be great to focus on, and I'm very, very positive for this event.
Okay. Alderperson Bates.
And one last mention that if I could get in the minutes, that on the previous consent agenda, the cost estimate will be waived. And this again is in response to the idea that we're not sure of how much we're going to need for events like this. The world has changed. Security needs have changed, and our costs have not been evaluated yet. So using this as we're waiving the fees, even though it's not a 501c3, is appropriate, my idea, just to get ideas of figures and then move forward with that too.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Class B temporary beer and wine license to Pulse Young Professional Network as recommended out of committee. Is there any other discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of granting that permit will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. That motion passes unanimously. Takes us on down to the Finance Personnel Committee meeting. I'm assuming Alderperson Erickson, you can report that unless you want me to report it out.
No, I'll take care of it. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yep, go ahead.
Reporting out from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of April 9th, 2018. The minutes can be found on the city website. Number 1, the committee recommends council proceed with the acquisition of 219 Martin Street at the agreed upon price of $100,000 to be funded from the TIF 10 Capital Fund, and this will be acted on following a report from the CDA. Item number 2, the committee recommends council approve the 6th Amendment to Development Agreement with Plexus Corp. For the planned DC2 development, and I so move.
Yeah, let's get a motion by Erickson. Let Erickson do it. Pam, you want to make that motion?
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, it's moved by Erickson, seconded by Boyette, to approve the 6th Amendment to the Development Agreement of Plexus Corporation for the planned DC2 development. Discussion on that motion? Alderperson Bates.
Thank you, President Stevenson. This goes back to Director Hayes. I noticed that your concern was with the sunset clause of this. How does that work? They don't seem to have a requirement for this property, but you think there might be somebody else that does. And so is it still the 6 month? You have a right to do something bigger than the other offer?
This one essentially gives them the ability, rights to the property for 1 year. But as I believe I tried to mention in my memo, the particular project that we're exploring is in cooperation with Plexus. Doesn't mean they are going to be a part of the project financially or in other means other than the original development agreement for the global headquarters gave them some ability to provide input as to what happens on sites 1 through 3. But that aside, they've also been very much in the process of being involved, or at least being well aware of what's being proposed out front you want to call it that, and are very supportive of that, but are willing, in essence, have offered to continue the agreement for one more year, essentially to be, not to buy their way to the table, but more or less to make sure or help facilitate that project as opposed to anything else coming forward and edging that project out.
So it would be a way to have the city, Plexus, and this new entity kind of working together to see what would be the best building to go there, and no one feels like their headquarters has been shielded.
Yeah, it would be all of that, and they're willing, and then the carrot is on top of that is the $46,000 to $48,000 payment that we would receive.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second. Recommending council approve the Sixth Amendment to the Development Agreement with Plexus Corp. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. Using that motion passes 8-0.
Item.
Go ahead.
Item number 3, the committee recommends council adopt ordinance 2018-06, repealing and recreating the room tax ordinance, and I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Stevenson, adopting ordinance number 2018-06. Any discussion? Alderman Erickson?
Yes, I was wondering if Attorney Godlewski could explain this ordinance.
Sure.
The main purpose for going back and redrafting the ordinance was with the retirement of the PAC bonds was the major driving force behind that, is simplify the language in there and to take out the references to the PAC bonds. And this simplifies the ordinance, creates the proper relationships between the different aspects of the room tax and sets it up for the coming sports facilities bonds as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no, using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 4, the committee recommends council approve the Fox Cities Exhibition Center fiscal agency agreement, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson.
Second.
Second by Alderman Stevenson. Any discussion?
There is one change that will be occurring to this agreement that right now the order of priority for payment, it goes to the CVB portion of the room tax is number 1, then the exhibition bonds is number 2, and it says presently that the municipal room tax is number 3, with the sports facility number 4, and that's actually supposed to be reversed. The sports facility would be number 3, and that's the way the ordinance is set up. And there's wasn't caught up in the agency agreement, but that will be corrected.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor vote aye. All opposed will vote no. Using the roll call machine, please.
There we go.
That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 5, the committee recommends council approval to make a 2017 transfer of $178,239 from the benefit accrual fund to the general fund to offset the loss of revenue caused by the mandated reduction of market value on city investments for fiscal year 2017. And I so move.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Coons. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no, using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0. All right. Thank you for your report, Madam Chairperson. Item number 10. Report of special committees and liaisons. Regular plan commission was canceled. The CDA authority meeting of April 9th Alderman Hillstrom, or Lednrum, can you
Yes.
give that report, please?
Yes, I can. Reporting out from the Community Development Authority meeting of April 9th, 2018, and the minutes can be found on the city website. The CDA recommends council proceed with the acquisition of 219 Martin Street at the agreed-upon price of $100,000.
And I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Lindrum, seconded by Alderman Bates.
On purpose. No, Bates
All right,
on purpose.
Alderman Bates. Seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Discussion. Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you. I voted against this in committee for a couple of different reasons. We have no current waiting developer for this property. The offer was quite a bit higher than the appraisal. That can be good and bad. The city has made a generous offer, which is fair to the homeowner, but we still represent taxpayers. So that was one of the reasons. And also, it's a really nice house and a really nice 2-car garage. And I haven't gotten reassurance yet that we could possibly move it to a habitat lot, and that would change my vote. But right now, as of now, I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. I think a lot of good points were brought up at committee meeting, at least at the finance level. Like the mayor in particular, I think, was council president. But we talked about if people wanted to sell their house, we would purchase it for a reasonable price, and we've come to that. This house in particular is surrounded by already properties, by no properties, because we ripped them all down around them. So at some point, we can't rip down properties all around somebody and say, no, we're not going to buy it. Plus, this is, I don't know, house 14 out of 18 or something. The idea was to move along and purchase these. To then question or stop at this point, to me, makes no sense. We finished what we started, and we have a few more to go. So.
Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor will vote aye, all opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 6-2.
And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee of the Whole meeting of March 20th.
Update.
I'm sorry, am I missing something? Oh, number 2, I'm sorry. I've skipped over that. Update from the CDA. Is there any update, Director Hayes?
I have no update, Mayor. We just bought a house.
We're closing Friday.
Thank you. It's not my first day here. May seem like. All right, it is my first day. All right. Item number C, Committee of the Whole meeting of March 26, 2018. Council President Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any other updates that don't have to be made? Okay, just checking. Okay, thanks. Reporting off the Committee Whole meeting of March 26th, the Committee of the Whole met and recommends that the council take action to move forward with the automated in-house garbage and recycling collection option, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Lendrum. Or Erickson, I'm sorry. Alderman Erickson. Any discussion on this item? Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. I think I walked by, I think I saw 3 cans out there. Are we experimenting with different size cans? That was kind of part of the discussion we had talked about. So, Director Kaiser, do you know where, maybe we're nowhere with that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, what we have out there is really just kind of a straw poll kind of approach to it, letting residents see the 3 different size containers that have been discussed. When we actually move toward having a vendor on board for providing the carts, they will be doing their own direct house-to-house survey
And the smallest can is how small?
35 gallons.
Thank you.
And that was kind of my request, to have 3 out there, try and give the citizens an idea on how much room they'll take in the garage, how heavy they are. They have actual, how much they weigh when, so they're weighted so that they know how much they are. So, I don't know, people, you'd be surprised. Everyone that walks by is like filling out their little survey and making comments, and that at some point we'll get them all to you. But people are really kind of interested and excited and stopping and taking a look at them. So
excellent idea.
Alderman Lundrum?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to mention that that's just a sample color. There are several colors, and that is not necessarily, and hopefully, not going to be the color. Sorry, just had to throw that in there.
Wow, okay. Yes, it's just a sample color. It's a good point, though. Thank you. All righty, where am I? There's a motion and a second that the council move forward with the automated in-house garbage and recycling collection proposal. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 7-1. Thank you very much for that vote. That's been a long time coming, I think. Item number D is the Board of Public Works meeting of April 10th, 2018. That we will have Alderman Bates, please.
Thank you, Mayor. There are 4 informational items for the meeting of April 10th, 2018, and the minutes can be found on the city website. The board approved change order number 4 for contract PR 01-17, the Fox River Loop the Lake project for the additional cost of the bump out canopy to Pfeiffer Brothers Construction Company Incorporated, Neenah, in the amount of $11,000, $839.94. The board approved pay estimate number 5 for contract PR 01-17, the Fox River Loop the Lake project of Pfeiffer Brothers Construction Company, Inc., Neenah, in the amount of $129,974.10. The board approved pay estimate number 2 for contract 8-17, Commerce Court Pond expansion and storm sewer installation to Carl Bowers and Sons Construction Company, Inc., to Carl Bowers and Kakana in the amount of $46,086.50. The board approved pay estimate number 1 for contract 1-18, sewer and water main and street construction on Andrew Avenue, Richard Avenue, Geiger Street, and Whiting Court to David Tenner Corporation, Green Bay, in the amount of $178,362.31, and that ends my report.
Thank you. Item number E is a report from the library board. Alderman Erickson, you have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move this report to the next council meeting since the library board meets tomorrow night.
Thank you. Item number F, the Neenah Arts Council. Also Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to move this report to the next council meeting since the Neenah Arts Council will be meeting next week, and I will have an updated report.
Thank you. There are no petitions. Then we move on to council directives. Last council meeting, there was a motion and a second by Alderman Lundrum and Alderman Paulno to add the council directive to review the street assessment policy ordinance, chapter 13.5D, parent D, parent 2, back on the council directives, listing Alderman Lundrum as the responsible party. And there is a vote required at this meeting. Do we have to make a... Okay. So there has already been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any real issue with the directive except for the directive system as it is. I have not seen it actually do anything, direct anybody from any of the directives that have come, at least since I've been here. I wonder if how this is supposed to work, or if it even works the way it should. There seems to be other vehicles we could do. We could bring this to with any other alderperson. You could come to a committee. Could do all kinds of things. At least something might happen. So, there's a rule set there, but I've never seen them actually. I've never seen them do anything. So, not sure what good it does.
This is one way that the council can get their issue on. Okay, anyone else have any comments? If not, we will, all in favor of the motion, vote aye. All opposed, vote no. That motion passes 0. Unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Next, item 14, new business. Mayoral Proclamation 218-01 declaring a snow emergency April 14, 2018 through April 16, 2018. Is there a motion to ratify that snow emergency declaration?
So moved.
There's a motion by
Second.
Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lang, who was in Sacramento, California for most of that snow emergency. Somewhat ironic. Alderman Coons.
Just a quick question. We're just saying, hey, that was a good idea. Is that what we're from the ratifying this after the fact?
When the statute requires that when the mayor declares an emergency, like a snow emergency, that it be brought before the next available council meeting for action.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tend to agree that it's probably saying the mayor did a good thing.
Nice job.
Alderman Boyett.
So in light of the future forecast, would it be the same for next council, or would we just preempt it and do it now?
Oh, for Wednesday, yeah.
For tomorrow night?
I think we're only expecting 1 to 3 inches, maybe. I rely not on George Graffis, I rely on Rick Freezy as my weatherman.
Okay.
Same thing.
Because, and I think George Graphics should start listening to Rick Freezy more often. But
George Graffis is retired.
hey, they hit this one, and I do want to say that
He retired.
I do want to say that you know, I watch these things. Sometimes I'll call an alderman or something. Sometimes I'll call staff. I call Rick. I call Greg or Jerry. This one, I also watch to see what other communities are doing. And in this case, other communities were doing this. I think it's imperative that we do everything we can to try and get cars and vehicles off the streets for night plowing. And it sends a message to people. And it's amazing how the word gets out. I appreciate the fact that I tried to text most of you, and some of you I emailed asking you to get the word out, you know, to use your contacts, share the Facebook page. Joni was great. She wasn't even, you know, working. It's the weekend. I called Jim. He answered his phone. So it was a good team effort on getting the word out, because I can tell you, as someone who sat in the passenger seat of those snowplows, in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden you see a white car covered in white snow, scares the heck out of you if you're not paying attention. So getting them off the street is really important to me. So that's one reason I did it. And the police department, they like it too, because it gives them a little bit more teeth to get cars moved, towed, or go knock on the door and tell people to move them. They're judicious in how they toll, I can tell you that. So, and last, I would just say, and our guys did do a bang up job this time. They really went. It was well done. I've had numerous people comment. There's been, you know, the stories of the plow came 10 minutes after I emptied out my driveway. So, but those things are unavoidable, unfortunately, but they did a good job. So I do appreciate the council ratifying my decision. Alderman Lundgren.
Can you just touch on the fire hydrants, and if you have a corner lot, to make sure you clear it both sides all the way out to the street?
Yeah, I mean, once again, the fire department would appreciate it if people live by a fire hydrant or they see one. or they have one in their neighborhood, go dig it out, because that could, save someone property, could save someone's life if the fire department doesn't have to take the few added minutes to do that. And the corner lots and that obstruction, who would have guessed we'd have banks 6 feet in April. I did mention today, and I talked to Jerry, this snowstorm was over $100,000 snowstorm for the city of Neenah. There's now the cleanup to do. I believe that a lot of this is going to melt in the next few weeks, but not all of it. So I just asked Jerry and the crew to be judicious and to prioritize the movement of snow, the putting it in the back of trucks and moving it around, and prioritize the areas where safety is a concern, because with the weather forecast after tomorrow, I'm hearing 60s by the weekend and that. So who knows and who can predict? But it was a very expensive storm, and but we still need to make sure we do our jobs on cleaning up afterwards. Alderman Erickson.
And since we will have a lot of melting, it will be a good idea for residents to make sure that their drains are cleared.
Good point.
That,
good point.
The
Yeah,
snow
good
can
point.
go in.
Yeah, and okay. And as Director Kaiser pointed out to me, some of the cul-de-sacs and that we remove snow to help with drainage. So they're always cognizant of that. So that's a good point. Okay, so there's a motion to ratify and a second. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine. That motion passes 8-0. Discuss dates for a council picture available of aldermen and staff either on May 16th, June 6th, or June 20th. Is there any of those dates that someone knows they're going to be missing?
The 20th is the Municipal Attorneys Institute. So I will not.
Okay.
What day is that? The 20th.
June 20th.
June 20th.
Can we get an email on that just so we can all look at our schedules at home?
Sure. Okay. Why doesn't Patty send out an email, but we need to hear back from everybody, or we're going to pick a date. So, okay.
Yeah, I originally told Scanlon's I would call him back tomorrow because he has to pencil in that date, and he's reserving those 3 dates for us.
So check your schedule.
So
and
get back to me as soon
the
as
sooner
you
you can get back, the better. Okay. Mayor Crawford's announcement of his appointment to fill the expired term of Mark Keating on the Neenah-Menasha Joint Fire Commission. That term expires May 2021. That'll be announced at the May 2nd, 2018 council meeting. I have already talked to Mark. The 2018 League of Wisconsin Municipalities Local Government 101 will be held on June 8th, 2018 at the Radisson Paper Valley in Appleton. Any council member interested should complete the form and submit it to the clerk no later than May 10th so reservations can be made. It's right in our backyard in Appleton. It's a good refresher, and it's a good for educational tool for new members. And if anyone wants to go, or if you'd like to go to part of it, talk to the clerk, okay? And lastly, any announcements or questions? Director Hayes. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that the Neenah Arts Council will have a meeting Wednesday, April 25th at 4 o'clock, and we will be meeting at the Neenah Masonic Lodge. So if any of you have ever had the opportunity to visit the lodge, you'll have a chance to give it. We'll have a brief tour. It's at 4 o'clock, and we are going to be discussing our spring-summer plans. So I encourage you to attend.
You. All right, Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick reminder to the council, 2018 drop-off Saturday morning sign-up sheet location is on the intranet, and there's a link to it, and I just went on it, and I see some of you have already signed up. If you're interested in serving that capacity, please go ahead and get that filled up.
Normally, we allow the new person to sign up for their 6 times before
Right,
we do,
yes.
don't we?
Yeah, and I will help you get to that link.
Thank you. I can't.
There'll be 8 other of us who will help you get to that link.
Director Hayes.
I just wanted the council, you may have read some things in the paper or heard on the radio reference to opportunity zones. And I'd like the council to be aware with the recent changes in federal tax law. The federal government created an opportunity for communities to submit applications to have their census districts that meet certain qualifications considered for inclusion in the Opportunity Zone program. Deputy Director Schmidt submitted 2 districts on behalf of the city. We were lucky enough to have one of those districts included. It's essentially bound by the downtown on the north, Cecil Street on the south, the railroad tracks on the west, and Oak Street on the east. What that program does, we're still evaluating exactly what the impacts of that will be, but it allows an individual or developer to defer capital gains by investing those capital gains, by deferring the tax on capital gains by investing those capital gains within the district, either within a project or within what they call opportunity funds. So there's still some things that need to be developed at the federal government level to clarify exactly how that's going to work. We're looking forward to see how that might be of value to the city.
Thank you very much. Lastly, I just have 2 quick things. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, there's a Washington Park, just if anyone's interested to pick out the playground equipment or look at playground equipment, that's tomorrow night. And Friday, I will be attending the Alliance for Cities meeting. So if there's anything that anyone would like me to ask at that meeting, there's always a round table. If any other community is doing something or some issue that's burning that you'd like to know how other cities our size, that's in Wauwatosa, so I'll be attending that Friday morning. Lastly, just keep Alderman Hillstrom, his wife Joy, in your prayers. They have some health issues going on that they were just made aware of today, and so they need your thoughts and prayers would be great. Okay. Is there a motion?
Move to adjourn.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Boyette. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin, Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.